جزاك الله خير.
السلام عليكم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. So a lot of the discussion so far has been about how we can help others. And a lot of it has been focused on the need that other people have for our help, right? So we've been talking about people in Syria, people in Palestine, people all over the world who are in need, and therefore we should help. But I'm actually going to ask you guys to focus on something else, a different need than the need of these children and the need of these people to be helped. And I'm actually going to ask you to focus on yourselves. And the reason I'm going to ask you to focus on yourselves is that there's something about giving that we don't typically recognize. And that is that when I help another person, I'm actually helping myself. And so, yes, we are generous. Yes, we love others, but essentially as human beings, we are we look at our own interests. We're self-interested. And this is why, whenever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us about doing good, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us about giving, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us about worship, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us about sin, He makes it very clear that when we worship Allah, we aren't helping Allah, we're helping our own selves. And when we sin against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and when we transgress against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we are actually transgressing against ourselves. ظَلَمُوا أَنفُسَهُم, meaning that they wronged their own selves. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses the people, and He says, قُلْ يَا عِبَادِيَ الَّذِينَ أَسْرَفُوا عَلَى أَنفُسِهِمْ لَا تَقْنَطُوا مِنْ رَحْمَةِ اللَّهِ. He's saying, oh, you who have transgressed against your own selves. And so when we disobey Allah, we actually are transgressing against ourselves. And on the other hand, when we obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and when we give, and when we are generous, we are actually putting that money, that service, that action into our own bank account. So now what I'm actually talking about is help yourselves. And when you take on a cause like this, or you take on any cause of service, any cause of helping another person, you are actually taking on your own cause. You are actually helping your own self. And I can give you countless evidences of that. Number one, the Prophet ﷺ told us that in one of the ahadith, he explained that the one who helps another person in a time of need, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help that person in his or her time of need. And what we have to keep in mind is, it is specified about the Day of Judgment. You see, there's this day that we're all going to have to experience. We're all going to have to experience the good and the bad. And this is a very heavy day. This is the day where we meet our Creator. And we're told how it is. See, because on that day, okay, let me just to kind of get an idea how intense this day is, right? This is a day that's described that a mother would be willing to sacrifice her own child. That a spouse, a husband and a wife would be willing to sacrifice each other. Your parents, you're willing to sacrifice that someone who is trying to save themselves on this day will be willing to sacrifice their own children and their own parents and their own spouse just to save themselves. This is how desperate we would be. This is how desperate people are on this day. Just for any kind of help, just for any kind of salvation, just for any kind of shade. All right, this is an intense day. And this is real, by the way. This isn't just a story. This is real. And this will happen. This is haqq. This is the truth. We will do anything to be saved on that day. And the Prophet ﷺ is telling us that when you help someone in this life, Allah will help you on that day. I think that's a pretty good deal, right? Because that's the day when we would be desperate for any kind of help. And we're told that if you help someone in this life, Allah will help you on that day. And if you help someone who's in a difficult situation in this life, Allah will help you in a difficult situation on the Day of Judgment. So when you help today, or any day that you decide to help your fellow brother or sister, you're actually helping yourself. And you're actually helping yourself at a time when you are going to be absolutely, and I'm going to be absolutely desperate for help, and willing to do anything for that help. This is actually helping yourself. And you know, subhanAllah, when someone, and I'm going to tell you this, we all go through hardship, right? That's how life is, right? We go through hardship, and I will tell you this. When you are in a hardship, when you are in the midst of your hardship, one of the best things that you can do to save yourself from that hardship is find someone who you can help. Do you understand what I'm saying? It is one of the fastest ways to be saved from your own, belly of the whale. You know, Yunus alayhi salam, when he was in the belly of the whale, right? When we get in our bellies of the whale, when we get stuck in a hardship, one of the quickest ways to be saved is to help another person. To give, whether it is from your own time, to give from your money, to give from whatever it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed you with, to help another person. And that's actually one of the fastest ways to be saved yourself, to save yourself from that hardship. Secondly, if you're having financial difficulty, I've had people, subhanAllah, who have approached me asking for different kinds of advice. And one of the questions that people ask is, I'm in financial difficulty, or I don't have enough money to do this, and can I take a loan, or do I do this? These kinds of questions. And one of the first pieces of advice that I give, why? Because this is the advice that we're given by Allah and His Messenger, give some charity. And it's interesting because it seems the opposite of common sense, right? If you're having difficulty with money, the knee-jerk reaction, or the common sense, is to hold on to the money more, right? No. I'm having trouble with money, I should hold on tighter. Isn't this what we think? But in fact, the reality is the opposite. That if you're having trouble with money and you want to grow your money, give some of it for the sake of Allah. And in fact, when you give from your money for the sake of Allah, it increases your wealth. This is actually a fact that when you do it, you recognize. It does not only come back to you, as the brother said, and the brother spoke the truth. You give money, you give sadaqah, it does come back to you. But it doesn't only come back to you, it actually comes back to you more than what you gave. That is an experiential fact. Anybody can vouch for that, right? Who's done it? These aren't just words. You can take the words and you can be like, let me try it. And then you will see that it is a fact. This is the promise of Allah and His Messenger. You give for the sake of Allah. And it doesn't only work with money, by the way. It also works with your time. So you have a person who's having difficulty with money, the solution for that person is give some of your money for the sake of Allah. Honestly, that's how you increase your money. And it will increase the barakah of your money too. Your money will go farther. You'll increase your money, and it will increase the blessing in your money. It also works with time. If a person is having trouble with time, I don't have enough time. You know what I mean? You know how you feel sometimes like there's not enough hours in the day to do everything I need to do, right? So I'm having trouble with time management, or I'm having trouble finishing everything I need to do. You know what the solution is to that? Give a portion of your time for the sake of Allah. This is also a fact. When you give a portion of your time for the sake of Allah, Allah increases the blessing in the rest of your time. Increases the barakah in the rest of your time and the rest of your day. Suppose you're a student, or you're a mother, or you're a father, you have all these roles, right? It's very difficult sometimes to balance these roles. And it's like, I don't have enough time. You know what the solution is, your prescription? Take a little bit of time. Give it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And what will happen is, the rest of your day you'll get more done. You'll actually have more blessing in 1 hour than you used to have in 6. And the reason for that is because when you give for the sake of Allah, Allah increases you. And this works with time, and believe me, it works with money as well. This deen is not just a deen of rituals. And I want to, inshallah, wrap it up on this point. We are right now in the month of Ramadan, walillahi alhamd. We've been able to witness another Ramadan. And not everybody got to witness this Ramadan. Actually, I just found out recently, I'm from Raleigh. And Raleigh is the community where we had the 3 winners, the three martyrs who were shot. And I actually found out recently, I was doing my halaqah. I have a local halaqah in Raleigh for sisters. and I was doing my halaqah at the house, and what I found out was that last Ramadan, one of them was there at the halaqah, and I didn't even know that. She was attended the halaqah at that house last Ramadan. And subhanAllah, what it made me think was that they had no idea last Ramadan that someone in that room wasn't going to make it for another Ramadan. And she had no idea. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on her and give her family patience. We have been given the privilege of witnessing another Ramadan, and not everyone got that privilege. In this month, however, we have to be very, very careful not to just make it a month of rituals. Because there are rituals that we do. We read the Quran, we fast, we pray, we go to Taraweeh, we do these things. But essentially, we cannot leave Ramadan, we cannot make Ramadan only a month of rituals. Ramadan is an opportunity for us to purify our hearts and to elevate our status with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And one of the most powerful ways to do that is to serve others. And I am telling you this honestly from a self-serving point of view. When you serve others, you're actually serving yourself. You are actually saving yourself. You are actually helping yourself. If you can find someone, and I've learned this, subhanAllah, if you can find someone who will accept your help, they've done you a favor. You're not doing them a favor. Honestly, they are actually doing you a favor for allowing you to help them. Because the reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so much greater than any amount of help that they got from you. You're just a human being. And you just gave $100, or you gave 1,000, or you gave 10,000. But what Allah gives you in return cannot be quantified. So actually you're helping yourself. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم إنه غفور رحيم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.